Today we're going to go deeper into spiritual intimacy and sacred sexuality. Hi, I'm Emily Liu. I help you climax in love. I am the author of Climax: Why Great Leaders Need Love Affairs. So if you love deep content like this about your relationships, I invite you to subscribe to this channel because I upload at least twice a week so that you could take your love life to the next level and climax on all different levels. Not only just the physical, but also the spiritual. So, on to today's topic, spiritual intimacy and sacred sexuality. I've already made 2 other videos about spiritual intimacy and great sex, so I invite you to take a look at those videos. And for today, I want to dive deeper into sacred sexuality. Sex can be just sex. Going for the orgasm, climaxing, and then falling over and sleeping and getting a good night's sleep because you've been relieved. There is nothing wrong with that kind of sex. But do you really want a lifetime of just that kind of vanilla sex? Of just reaching the climax and that's it? Well, if you want to have just vanilla sex, that's fine. But if you want to take sex to a whole nother level, this is about getting in touch with the divine in you. Because you are spirit, you are essence. And a spiritual partnership is about learning about all the different parts of your personality, especially rescuing, reclaiming the disowned parts of you that you have swept under the rug because you were ashamed at the junior high school dance, or mom or dad told you that you're never going to amount to anything, or you always felt inferior to your older brother that was more intelligent and more handsome, or your older sister that was always more beautiful and got more attention. So when we experience those kinds of childhood little and big traumas, we end up shutting parts of us down. We end up not being as vibrant and radiant. So the spiritual journey is about reclaiming all of those forgotten parts of us and those disowned parts and beginning the journey of healing them, and also having the courage to shine your light and putting yourself out there and not being afraid to be all that you are and not feeling like you have to wear all sorts of masks in order to be accepted. The spiritual journey, especially into midlife, is about having the courage to say your truth from a place of vulnerability and strength so that people know, oh, this is why he thinks this way. Oh, okay, well, how do I speak for that feeling that is just so hard for me to get out? And, if you want to know how to do that, this is where my course, Climax in Love, which I invite you to check out in the links below in the description box. It will take you through the journey of what you need to do in order to climax in love and just be that ultimate warrior for a goddess, or climax in love, be the ultimate goddess for a warrior. Because becoming that ultimate goddess and warrior is the spiritual journey. It is about being in a spiritual partnership where that person can shine the flashlight onto the parts of you that get triggered by whatever it is that they're doing. So when you get triggered, it's that little boy or that little girl inside of you that just got brought back to, well, whoa, I'm reliving a childhood movie from the way my partner just talked to me about how I did not empty the dishwasher in the right way. Whoa, you felt criticized because your partner turned into mom or dad because that energy felt the same. So spiritual partnership is about understanding that the triggers has more to do with you than with the way your partner said something to you. Sure, you could give them feedback on how to say something better to you that doesn't trigger. But when you own these parts that are so vulnerable and so tender, and just let your partner know, ouch, can you do a takeover? Because that didn't feel good. It's just that 4-year-old that felt unheard and unimportant that just got activated, and I'm so sorry. And this is about lovingly sharing with each other the hurt parts that get activated when you get triggered over minor things, such as burnt toast or not cleaning the garage on a timely manner, right? So it's never about the act itself or what wasn't done. It was about the little child inside of you that got triggered, and the purpose of a spiritual partnership is for your partner to shine the flashlight onto those parts of you that are still unhealed, so that not only can you heal it with your higher self with the help of a therapist or a spiritual healer, but she can or he can be the secondary healer of those parts. And this is where spiritual partnership comes into play, because you're seeing not only the divine oneness in you, and that you have a higher self and you have all of these tender parts that the higher self protects. And so that's a divine relationship within yourself. And then also seeing the divine oneness of your partner. And when you see people and their actions through this compassionate spiritual lens, that we're all doing the best we can, because we've all been hurt, and we're all trying to like come to wholeness from reclaiming all of these lost parts of us. So that is the spiritual journey. And when you see your relationship as the healing vehicle for all of these wounded parts of you, this is when you see your relationship not as a Disney movie, because the Disney movies do not show the spiritual nature and the purpose of romantic partnership. It's all about triggering the unhealed parts in each other so that they can be healed, and finally healed in the presence of your loving partner. And that is divine partnership. And when you feel that energy of oneness with the other person, this is where it can be transferred into the bedroom, and the sex and the lovemaking can seal that energy between you two, where you see each other so fully, so that sex is a sacred act. Sex is an act that is about connecting with the divine in you and the divine in the other person. It's using that energy that is so powerful to connect with the oneness within yourself, with your partner, and with the universe. This is why sex can be so delicious and sacred and divine. And it's not just about the orgasm. The orgasm happens naturally, and especially for women, when they're connected in this kind of space, they could just be orgasmic all night. And then the man is just like, whoa, I just want to be the witness to that fulfillment and that energy. And that's what makes sex great, not only for the man and for the woman. And men, you know, if you're a man watching this, you can be multi-orgasmic just like women. You have to learn how to orgasm without ejaculation. And you could get like the Multi-Orgasmic Couple book by Mantak Chia. He's a very famous teacher that teaches men how to be multi-orgasmic without ejaculation, because ejaculation is just going to deplete your energy. You could also look up Tantra, Tantra, as a practice where you can learn how to have orgasms without ejaculating. So this way you're not depleted, and you could be multi-orgasmic with your partner all night long. So this is about connecting with the divine all night long. And this is why sex can be such a sacred act. And when you look at sex as a sacred act of connecting with the spirit with your partner, the sex never gets old. This is where you could have a thriving and alive and adventurous partnership when you are connected at the physical level, at the emotional level, at the mental level, and at the spiritual level, where you get to see all the vulnerable parts in yourself and also in your partner. And that's that divine connection. This is where like you see the spirit in your partner, and just like are in touch with the essence of who you are, and loving all of the different parts that were wounded and healing those parts within yourself, and also holding space to help your partner get the love and the validation that their child parts have needed in partnership. So the secondary healing, the most powerful healing that you can help another human being go through, is to be their secondary healer. The primary healer of the wounded child part should be the higher self in each of us. This is where the internal family systems framework, which is what I'm trained in, of spiritual healing, can help you do that, and having the higher self heal these wounded parts and love yourself. This is all about self-love. When you heal the wounded parts, this is when you fall madly in love with yourself and are in that divine connection with all the different parts of you. And that self-love gives you the capacity to give so much love to the other person and hold space for their journey. If you're interested in doing some of that healing, I invite you to answer a few questions in my form to get a hold of me to see if one-on-one coaching with me is the right fit for you. And you could also check out the Climax and Love courses, one for the warrior, one for the goddess, so that you could perhaps begin this journey on your own to understand your parts and what made you who you are. So back to this spiritual partnership and sacred sexuality. When you get to know yourself and see the divine in you, and that we are all just humans having a spiritual experience, this is when you connect to a higher power and understand that life is all about the healing journey and the spiritual journey. And this is where life does not get old. You're constantly growing, knowing about yourself and about your partner. And this is where you understand that, wow, sex is not just sex. Yes, sex can be just great sex for the sake of sex, but you want transcendent, lifelong, passionate sex that never gets old, where you're just in this altered state of consciousness in multi-orgasmic bliss. This is where, when you see the divine in you, you will see the divinity in the sexual act. And that is how you keep passion and aliveness alive for the length of the relationship. And if you strive for this kind of relationship because you've done the work on yourself, you put out that vibration that, yeah, I am meant to have this kind of partnership. Come on, universe, I'm ready. So when you're living in the end and you know that your partner who is at that same vibration as you is there looking for you, this is when the universe will do its thing and orchestrate what it needs to orchestrate in the background so that the right match will come into your life. And when you understand the sacred nature of this kind of spiritual partnership, this is where you can have the deep conversations with this partner that is at the same vibration as you. And this is where you could take your relationship to a whole nother level that so very few people achieve. So I hope that you gain a deeper understanding of what spiritual partnership and sacred sexuality is all about. I would love to hear your comments. And if you want to continue to learn from me, I invite you to subscribe and also to read my book, Climax, Why Great Leaders Need Love Affairs. You're going to understand much more about the internal family systems process and how to become the most extraordinary version of who you are.